And if you knew me in Kenya, I went by the name Obama Kanini, because all my Kenyan friends believe that I will be the first female president of America, so vote for me in 20 years. But last semester, I got the chance to study abroad, sort of, in Jinja, Uganda, where I was an intern for a company called Light Gives Heat. And basically, we worked with women who were displaced from the war and did job creation. And so I want to talk a little bit more about what I learned there, more than what I did there. So the first thing I want to show is a picture of my new family. If you look up in the right corner, the very top, that really white person is me. It's my superpower. You don't get whiter than me. It's pretty amazing. But in Africa, they call me black, which is also great. So this is my family. This is most of the family. It's hard to get 100 women all in the same place at the same time. I'm sure most of you understand that. So this is the family. And I have a small video that I put together of all of the little fun adventures that we had while I was there, so I'd like to share that with you. Kicked in the face by a cow. So these are different pictures from the town that we lived in, and aside from seeing a lot of red dirt, there was a lot of poverty in Jinja. But you never really noticed that from the people. And so one of the things that I really learned in Uganda was about successful charity. And the first thing that I learned was about not just having good intentions, but of actually doing good. And so one of the problems with good intentions is that sometimes we have this idea that, like, if I donate 100 mosquito nets to people somewhere in Africa, that people's lives are going to be better. And this is my good intention. But the problem with that is that we don't realize the problems that can also cause. So when this village receives 100 mosquito nets, then the company that is in the village that makes mosquito nets and is then selling them to the other villagers, that company goes out of business because they don't have any clients to sell to. And not only that, but then 5 years later, when the nets need to be fixed because there's holes in them, because if you've ever been in a mosquito net and there's bugs on them, you hit them. You don't stay with them. But then you also have to get them re-dipped in something that's like a pesticide so that the bugs stay away. But now this company that was originally selling these mosquito nets doesn't fix the mosquito nets, it can't re-dip the mosquito nets, and so now the 100 people that got free mosquito nets don't have anything, and there's a business that's out of business. And so a good intention ended up not really doing good. So then the second part about being a successful charity is it being community-centered. The number one thing that I learned in Uganda is that relationships are everything. The purpose of life is to be in community. And the way that I learned this was that if I tell you a story about 100 kids in Africa that are gonna die today, you're gonna look at me and you're gonna say, that's sad. And it is, it's very sad. But if I tell you that your next door neighbor is gonna die, you're gonna do something about it. Because you're connected to them. You feel that, and you wanna do something, you wanna make a change, and you want it to matter. And so when you get into charity, and when you start working with people, and you become connected with them, you can't help but want to do something. Because they're your family, they're part of you. The last thing about being a successful charity is to invest in them. And investing doesn't necessarily mean money, it means time, it means investing your life. For me, while I was there, I worked with a women's rights organization, and I got to design websites and do videography of women giving their testimonies of domestic violence. And my passion is being creative, and so this was a way I could invest in them doing what God made me love to do. So these are my friends that I made. Fiona was one of the girls that worked in the marketplace, and she sold me all the crafts that I bought. And then I got to go to a Ugandan wedding, which was pretty amazing. And then the little boy in the blue shirt here lived with us, and he was the least African child ever because we made him watch How I Met Your Mother and other American shows. He now knows the word legendary and uses it as often as possible, which I'm kind of proud of. So how real development starts is in 5 steps. The first one is listening. It's really important, and it's not that hard. All you gotta do is ask them what they need, because they know their needs, and they usually know how to make their needs fixed. They just don't have the resources. So if you sit down and you talk with them, and you listen to what it really is that they need and they want, they're gonna tell you, and you can help them fix these problems. The second thing is to discuss it, to talk about the resources that they have and the resources that you have. They have friends, they have family, they have a lot of people in their communities because they know to lean on each other. But you have access to other things, whether it's creativity, whether it's money, whether it's just being there to support them and standing on the sideline telling them you can do it. You have that ability. And then there's the action. You let them be the leaders because they can lead and you're just there as the support system. You're there as the cheerleader and there to help them if they fall or if they have questions or if they just need somebody to be there for them. And then, as they say on the shampoo bottle, you repeat. And so you just keep doing it. You keep listening, you keep discussing, you keep going into action, and you solve all the problems until there are no problems left. But my favorite one is about showing up. That's all you have to do. There were times that I would just sit with women at their homes, and they would be making paper beads, and they would be speaking in Luganda to each other, and every once in a while they'd say Mzungu, which means white person. So I knew they were talking about me. Or they would mention other ladies in our group, and I would know that they were gossiping about them as well, but that's all I understood. And I would just sit there and I would be with them. And that was more than enough for them, because they felt loved. They were so honored to just have a white person sitting there with them, not needing anything, not asking anything, just being with them. We also watched the movie The Lorax there, which became my new favorite movie. And I think it's really true what it says about, it's not about what it is, but about what it could be. It seems small, but really it's not. And I think that showing up is exactly what that means. So there's a couple things about development that are important, and it's that we always are coming up with the new best thing, the new way to solve problems, to make people's lives better, but old things work really well. Assumptions are our greatest enemy, especially when we assume that we're right and that we have the best answer, because we're not always right and we don't always have the best answer. It's what I like to call the white savior complex. And then there must be a desire for change by the people that you're trying to help. Because if they don't want to change, then nothing's going to happen. No good intention or anything that you do is really going to make a difference because they don't want that change. They don't see the need for it. And then finally there's power in numbers. It's all about community. It's all about doing this together. There's no reason to do this if we're not going to be loving each other and there for each other and connecting with each other, because that's the whole point. And so I just wanted to thank Molly, first of all, for having us tonight. This is super awesome. And I want to do a little marketing scheme, because my father would be so not proud if I didn't, that we're selling my old clothing line's t-shirts outside. They're $10 for one, 2 for $15, and all the money is going to the women's organization that I worked with, and they're right now trying to build a home for women to come when they can't get away from domestic violence. And so it's the only safe house that will exist in Uganda, and it's a pretty big deal. So they would be very excited to have, they only need $2,000 for the whole thing to run. And so I'm like, we can do that. So, thank you.